Okay, so you should have already completed the Maven module. So I believe that repetition is key. So what we're going to do is now we're going to create a Maven project for the Stack Overflow website. So double click on Eclipse. And now what we need to do is we need to create another folder for where we're going to house all the files for our project. If you've already got an actual folder already created, just delete the folder, create a new one, and we're going to call it, let's say, Cucumber Framework. Once we've created that folder, we're then going to point to that actual new created folder. So we're going to find that folder, which is here, press OK and OK. Okay, so once Eclipse is loaded, we can fully expand the actual bar, press continue, and now we've got our actual, just a plain package explorer with no actually packages visible. So what we need to do now is create our Maven project. So go File, New, we're going to go into Other, we're going to find Maven, and we're going to go Maven Project, go Next. We're going to use the default workspace location, which is the following. So if you have that ticked, it's already going to select that folder. But if you, in case you wanted to make sure that we actually point into the correct folder, untick that option and browse to the new folder we've just created. Click Next. Click Next again. So group ID is our domain name in reverse. So it's going to be Stack Overflow. Then let's call the artifact ID Cucumber Framework. And what I like to do is I like just to delete the following. You can leave that there if you wanted to, but for me it's more visually appealing, and I'll show you why. Because we don't have the full domain now visible, it just shows Cucumber Framework. For me it's just easier to look at, but you can do whatever suits you best. Okay, so now we have our actual project created. Okay, so in the actual Maven module, I showed you how to set up the Java JDK with Eclipse. So you can see that we've got a slight issue here. So if you right mouse click the project, go Properties, we're then going to untick this option here and select the Java build path. We're going to click Edit. We're then going to go into Installed JREs, select the one that we previously listed, which is, if we edit that, it should be okay. So this directory here, we don't want it to the JRE, we want it to the JDK. So if you go on your computer, you find the location of the JDK, which is here, press OK. So you want the location of the Java JDK, press Finish, Apply, click OK, and you should have that option, this option appeared. Just double check. Even though it says JRE here, it's actually pointing to the JDK. Press OK, Finish, Apply, OK. Now what we need to do is, from the Maven module, there was a POM file. So if you double click the POM file in Eclipse, we're then just going to select the actual POM XML. So what I want you to do now is, if you've got Notepad++ or just a notepad, just edit this POM file. And I want you to highlight the following. So from Properties downwards, copy all that code, and then you need to overwrite the following. So now if I save this project, and now you should see the following. So what that does now is it uses the default Java JDK, and in turn we've also added many of the dependencies which are required as part of Cucumber and also the Selenium dependencies. So just save your project, close the POM file. What we need to do now is go Project Clean our project, and then we're going to go Maven Update, force update the project. And now you can see there's no actual errors with our project. So when we updated our project, we clicked false updates, and in turn that will download the relevant jar files from the web by using our actual POM file. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to actually edit our text so it's a little bit larger, so it's more visually easy for you guys to see. So I need to go into General, Appearances is somewhere here. Just need to recap it myself. Let's have a look. Okay, so we need Basic. So we need this option here. Let's set that to 14. Click OK. Okay, so the text is larger now. Just for you guys, so it's more easy for you guys to see. So I'm going to click this option, close. I'm now going to go to the test Java actual package. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the package to house our feature file, because we now know that Eclipse is up and running. Let's actually create our first feature file. So what I'm going to do is inside this package here, I'm going to right mouse click, go new, package. I'm going to put a dot, and then after that I'm going to say feature files. Click finish. So now we've got our newly created package. If we select this option here, you can see that the feature files package is visible. So you can play around with that option, whatever looks more visually appealing to you. Select whatever option you want. For me, the following options more clearer. So now we've got our actual feature files package. We need to create our feature file. So go new, we're going to select file, we're going to call our feature file login and put dot feature. Click finish. And now you can see that it's highlighted as a green icon, which is good because we've installed the relevant add-ons to Eclipse, and that's why when you create a feature file you should see the green icon here. If you don't, return to the original setup module and make sure that you've watched all the videos correctly and made all the relevant changes required. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do for our feature file is call feature. Then we're going to go give it a description. So R1 is log into account. Sorry if I can spell correctly. So we're going to say log into account. I'm going to use another line and then I'm going to give it more of a description. So existing, let's say Stack Overflow user should be able to log into account using correct credentials. Okay, so we've given our feature file a description. So the description is log into account. I've used another space for a 2-line description. So existing Stack Overflow user should be able to log into account using correct credentials. Now we need to use another Gherkin syntax, which is scenario. So this is the actual test scenario. And you can also see it highlights Gherkin syntax in a different color. So now I need to give a description for our scenario. So log into account with correct details. Okay, so now we need to use more Gherkin syntax, seeing that we've given our scenario description. So let's say given. So we're going to call the given syntax user navigates. Sorry, it's frozen a little bit. I'm just going to pause the video for a second. Sorry, my Eclipse just froze there for a second. So let's carry on from where we left off. So we're going to say given user navigates to Stack Overflow website. So let's just actually replicate that scenario. So given we access stackoverflow.com, so I've got my Chrome browser open. Then we need to say, okay, we need to click on, obviously, on the log on button. So we're going to use and Gherkin syntax. User clicks on the login button on, let's say, homepage. So we've clicked on the login button. We need to enter an email password, and user enters a valid username. Let's just use that uppercase, and then we're going to copy the same line again, but then we're going to say enters a valid password. When user clicks on the login button, so users enter the valid username, valid password, clicks on the login button. Once a user logs in on the login screen, the user should be taken to the successful login page. Okay, so just save our feature file. So this is everything we need for our feature file to replicate that test scenario. So we're giving our feature file a description. Our feature file needs a scenario. So our scenario's now got a description, which is the login account with correct details. We've then using the Gherkin syntax to replicate that scenario. So we access the Stack Overflow homepage, which is here. Given the user navigates the Stack Overflow website, we then use the and syntax, and user clicks on the login button, and the user enters a valid username, password, and clicks on the login button. Then the user should be taken to the successful login page. Okay, so now we've successfully created our feature file and it's housed in our actual feature files package. You can see that some of the steps within our feature file, or all of our steps in our feature file, are highlighted in a yellow underline. That's because we haven't actually implemented the relevant steps in a separate steps class. What happens is when our feature file steps find no match, so it's looking for a match in a given steps file, if it doesn't find a match, it highlights it in yellow. So the next thing that we're going to be looking at is creating a steps class to match our actual steps listed within the feature file that we've just created.